Guys, I think Christmas came a little bit early this year for me. Check out what I got. I got a big old bag of amaryllis bulbs. Check these out. These are huge. Jumbo. Look how big this is. Now you guys know by now that I love my amaryllis. I have tons of other videos all about how to grow amaryllis, how to care for them, and the after bloom care. You can check those videos out in the description of the video below. But for now, we're trying to get a little bit creative. We're trying to have a little bit fun. We're trying to celebrate the holidays in the highest form we can. So I was thinking, how can I utilize all of these amaryllis bulbs in a really fun, unique, cool, and of course, beautiful manner? And at first I thought, all right, have some cool planters. Could just like, you know, have some fun planters around the house. I already have like 10 plants of amaryllis already growing around my garden, already growing around my home right now. That was boring, no. Next, I thought, all right, what if I plant them in this cool little tray, just like put like 12 of them all in here and just have this intense like tray filled with amaryllis beauty. And I was really close to doing it. And then the more I thought about it, it's like, this is just not very, you know, amaryllis, they don't need to be planted so deeply, so maybe it would work. But then I was second guessing myself thinking, it's too shallow, something else. Then it dawned on me. What if I build my own Christmas tree with specific locations for small pots to be placed on in a pyramidal shape and have just a bunch of amaryllis growing like that? So I sketched out a little rough plan here. You can see two different versions, one with 4 tiers, which would have 16 plants, and then the other with just 3 tiers, which would have 13 plants. And I have about 16 bulbs, so either is doable. But the real determining factor is how much wood I have downstairs in my garage that I can use to build this. So for this project, what we're gonna be using in my handy dandy little tool bin. I keep these inside because I'm always using them to make my own little house planters and stands and all that kind of stuff. So I got my 2 drillers, and I've also got all of my screws. And my most recent purchase was this guy, this cool little work saw. It was only like 60 bucks on Amazon. And this thing has really made creating planters, creating my plant stands so much faster than doing everything by hand. Now this was a great workout, and I do miss the added exercise I get from doing it like this. But hopefully I can knock this cool plant stand, this plant strand Christmas tree out in like a couple of hours with this baby. So let's go downstairs and see how much wood I have to play with. All right, so here's my precious pile of wood. If you guys saw that video of my full house plant tour where the second floor, that kind of room, that open sitting room, well, that used to be a bedroom. We took that wall down, and when the guys were taking that wall out and they had all this extra wood, they were gonna take it with them, and I said, leave that here. I'm gonna make some cool projects for my plants. And sure enough, here we are, about to make a cool project for my plants. So by default, we went with the 48-inch version, the 4-foot version, because the longest planks of wood I have were 48 inches. But you can see I got the base already going. So much better with this electric saw, my goodness. Look at it, it looks pretty darn good. It's super heavy. Oh my gosh, there's nothing that gives me quite as much joy as creating something for my plants, and this is looking pretty good. Next step is to sand it real quick, and then we'll paint it up. I don't know, probably a nice green, of course. I'm so thrilled because I just got back from Home Depot, and they actually had 11 of the same sized containers. These little 6-inch, they call them azalea pots, with matching trays. How often does that happen? 0% of the time. Actually, I needed 12 and I got 11 and then one other size one, but that's okay, close enough. And these are gonna be perfect for our amaryllis. Just a few quick tips, remembering how to grow our amaryllis. They like to be pretty confined in their container. So a pot like this, which offers about an inch around the sides of the bulbs, is the maximum size that you want to have your amaryllis bulb planted in. And whenever I'm growing amaryllis, I always like to start with pre-moistened soil. So I always just put some soil. This is just normal potting mix. I put it into a bowl, give it some water at the sink, and I just gradually add more until it's, you know, the nice consistency. Just a little, you see, just a slight amount of water is dripping down. And I use just like this little bamboo stake to help me mix it like it's big old cauldron. And we remember that amaryllis are a very drought tolerant plant. In fact, one of the things that I often see that I have done before is I will plant my amaryllis and I will allow that soil to be too moist for too long. It normally doesn't inhibit the growth at all, but it does bring fungus gnats, and we hate fungus gnats. So you want to definitely keep your amaryllis bulbs on the dry side while they're growing, definitely that first year of growth. So I like to pre-moisten my soil just like that. It helps me to really have a really nice, precise level of moisture for my amaryllis when I'm growing it. Not too wet, not too dry. Then I'll just take a handful, fill it about halfway up, just like that. Take the bulb, try to spread those roots if you can. Get rid of some of that excess. Plop it in. More soil around the edges. And there she goes, 1 of 12 done. Now, the best way to grow your amaryllis is by placing them in an area that is very nice and warm. For me, this is like above my furnace in my basement, and so I will keep mine on the floor in this room while my furnace is actively running. You know, it's cold, it's wintertime, so I'll place these on the floor there so they can be really nice and warmed up. That's gonna help them sprout the absolute fastest. That will actually also many times cause your plants to produce flowers without any foliage. So just be aware that does happen a lot of times with our amaryllis. You'll get those flowers and the foliage won't come till after the flowers have already finished. That's absolutely normal. But if you want to get flowers the fastest, place it somewhere warm. It really doesn't need any light before you have any growth. Once you have your first inklings of growth starting to occur, then that's when you place it in a nice, sunny, well-lit, bright area. And because we have planted this in pre-moistened soil, I'm not even gonna water it now. I'm just gonna let it be just as is. And I'm gonna wait for it to really look nice and dry before I give it any more water, which will typically be once it started to sprout. That's probably the same time that I'll notice that the soil is dry. So that could be in 2 weeks that I'm not even gonna give it any more water, all right? So just keep that in mind. Dun, 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 dun. The amaryllis Christmas tree is in full bloom, finally. It's the middle of February, so I didn't have the Christmas flowers blooming in my home like I had planned, but that doesn't mean I'm not so thrilled, so stoked to see all my beautiful amaryllis in bloom. Let's take a look at what I've got going on. So I have no idea what variety this one is. It is some unmarked, unnamed amaryllis, and the grower sent me a few of them, as you'll see. And they just sent me this bulk bag of different amaryllis in different sizes to try growing. And this one I do know, this is the apple blossom or cherry blossom, it's sometimes called. Beautiful pink flowers. And I think I have, how many do I have blooming right now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7. So I'm pretty thrilled. I should definitely have flowers continuing to bloom over the next couple months, over the next few weeks for sure. And the fun thing is how Mother Nature works. She allows some to bloom while others are just starting. So who knows what that'll be? Who knows what that will be, or that one, or that one, or that one. All that I know is that seeing all of these amaryllis in bloom really makes my heart sing. And it was just a fun project to do. I hope it filled you with a little bit of inspiration to try something different. Try to expand your boundaries with your plants. Plants are meant to be fun. They're meant to be enjoyed in new, fun, and exciting ways. There's no art better than Mother Nature. And I think this is definitely a wonderful opportunity to showcase one of the most beautiful flowers that exists. Anyways, if you did enjoy this video, consider subscribing to my channel, Plant Vibrations. I'm bringing new plant-related videos every single weekend. Primarily, every Saturday morning, you'll find my longer form videos just like this. And throughout the week, I try to post 1 or 2 YouTube shorts as well. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I will catch you soon. Ciao.